Every morning, you need to mind hack and murder hack your brand.
Exponential growth is exponential.
Look at your calendar and burn it. What is your personal winning resume?
The number one thing that they don't teach in school is to make money. Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur.
Produce.
I am literally a god.
Spartans!
Business.
Money hacks.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Money Hacks. I'm Bridge Stewart.
And I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn. Subject for today is downsizing. Downsizing your business, downsizing your life, making sure you cut the fat, reduce operating costs, sort of restructure your organization in order to make it more competitive.
Yeah, just to get into the subject of downsizing, I'll be honest to the listeners. I have been getting fat. I've been eating a lot of sugar these days.
Yeah, I mean, your diet fluctuates a lot, and you seem to be upsizing quite a bit.
Yeah, I sort of got into the all sugar diet for a little bit there. You know, some people go with the all meat, the keto. I went all sugar, and yikes, the pounds just sort of jumped on when I did that. And it's funny when you add things on to your life like weight, it becomes harder to move around. Like I'm having difficulty sort of walking right now because I put on a solid 70 pounds over the last couple months.
Yeah, you breathe a lot heavier now. Seem to be. It's a lot. I mean, you do eat those candy sandwiches where it's just bread and Twizzlers, and I've seen you eat these things, and I'm sure they're really tasty, but
they're delicious.
You're eating one right now as we speak.
The trick is you got to microwave the Twizzlers. Just get it into a nice. It's almost like a Slurpee form. Pour that in between the bread. Put a little sugar on the bread, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I don't think it's very healthy.
You also seem to be downsizing in your home. You were recently married to this Russian mail-order bride.
Yeah.
And I don't see her anymore. I haven't seen her around the house. What's going on there?
From the onset there, I always thought it would be me who was going to be like, get out of my house. We're done. Yeah. But it turned out she was just so disgusted by the pure amount of sugar that I was consuming that she left. It's one of those times where it's like my whole plan was like, use this person and throw them away. And it turns out this person, sort of used me and left. So hats off to them. She's made me sad. But honestly, it's been quite a downside.
She learned from the best, I suppose. But you did sign that prenup. Or you had her sign one?
No, I didn't do that.
You didn't do that. It's rule number 1.
Yeah, I forgot.
Simply forgot.
It sort of slipped my mind.
Memories fading from all that sugar.
A lot going on.
It just slowing down.
It's hard for me to focus, honestly, with this diet I'm on, and I guess I forgot to do that. So now I'm in a world of hurt financially.
Well, we also wanted to talk about downsizing in your business. You want to improve efficiency by replacing your employees, and replacing your employees with machinery is one way of certainly downsizing. All of my factories, we just closed all the doors. Everyone showed up to work, and the doors were sealed.
Really?
Sealed with steel. And they were banging at the doors trying to get in so they could punch in.
I get that.
But I put big metal statues in front of the door, and they're just staring at them from inside the factory. It's like, this is our job now.
And since they couldn't clock in, I remember you were on top of the roof looking down at them, sort of, tapping on your watch, sort of indicating, hey, you're not clocking in. So
the paychecks, they keep you got to send them every 2 months. You got to send one of these things.
That'll run you dry.
Get rid of that glut, that fat.
Get rid of the fat. You got rid of the fat. Just that bulbous fat. That is the workforce.
Yeah.
And you kind of just did it sneaky. You closed the doors and said, sorry.
Oops, sorry.
Oops.
That was playing over the loudspeakers in the parking lot. That was just playing. They would park, and then this loudspeaker, oops, sorry.
I'm sorry. So sorry. You got
downsized. I'm
just
sorry.
blasting through the parking lot at like 150 decibels.
Yeah, 150 decibels. I was going to say 110 degrees. It's getting hot out there.
And 110 degrees, just blasting windows open and broiling hot heat.
It's one way of doing it.
I mean, this philosophy of downsizing, getting to the essentials, I think that brings us into our guest very well. Today, we'd like to welcome to the show Landon Ohners. Thanks for joining us, Landon.
Oh, absolutely. Really excited to be here.
Landon Ohners, you're in real estate. You're big in the real estate game. At least you and your family have been huge in the real estate game, but you've sort of kind of stepped aside and created your own little business.
Well, it is a family business, but I figured I would chart my own path, go my own way, uproot and settle anywhere I want. And I think I have done that, and I encourage all people to do that.
You're encouraging all people to do that, but I mean, here's the thing. We're living in a world where things are getting expensive for these kids. Apparently, housing prices are rising, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think it's kind of a little bit of whining on their part. But how are these younger people supposed to be able to afford living?
I think the struggle for a lot of these real estate folk out there is they're not adjusting their businesses to speak to these people and to get them what they actually need. Life is all about buying property, and these kids don't have that option. And also, they don't want that, to be perfectly honest with you. They want to go their own way, just like me, just like a young man should. Kids are struggling to afford, these houses that their parents raised them in, and we figured we would let them experience that their own way, which is why I launched my business of tiny houses.
Oh, you're a tiny houseman.
I don't, it is on my business card, but I don't walk around saying it like that.
See, I thought that these kids, they didn't want to buy houses. I mean, if they're not buying houses, it means they don't have the want for it. A lot of the boomer generation have been owning homes, and these the millennials, Gen Z, they didn't want it hard enough, and that's why they haven't been buying any of these houses.
The times have changed, right? They're so used to the excess of swiping and finding what they need. So why don't we give them a house that meets their needs in a mobile way where they can swipe and end up anywhere they want to be?
Yeah, I mean, these kids these days, I can barely stand even looking at them. I'll go on the internet and just,
swipe left,
swipe right, and I get filled with rage looking at this generation.
Their haircuts. I don't like them either. Their haircuts.
These new pants they're wearing, they're just sagging. They're sagging below their knees. I mean, they've got these tattoos on their face and
rap music.
This trap music that's just incessantly playing. It's enough to drive somebody insane.
Unless you flip that and view them as a business opportunity. I mean, these kids, they're not out there buying records, doing the things we did when we were kids, okay? They're
doing grass right now.
They're doing grass. And they got money.
They're doing lean.
Yeah.
They're drinking cough syrup in the middle of class.
Very expensive, by the way. I mean, they have the money to spend. They just don't have the houses to buy. Let's build them the houses they need.
Shove them in a box. Your company's phrase, shove them in a box.
Shoving them in a box, just like a shoe box, right? These kids are buying shoes. Real expensive ones. Let's package a house the same way.
Living in a big shoe. It's like a nursery rhyme. Do you sell large shoes?
We had a sneakerhead come in. He wanted us to custom build him a house that felt familiar. So we built him a shoebox style home with many compartments for all of his shoes.
Yeah, that sounds like something the Gen Z would do. Just fill up and pile into a house that looks like a shoe filled with shoes, drinking a bunch of cough syrup in their house, just shuffling around.
Hey, Bridge, your face is getting red. Are you okay? Or getting
yeah. It's
I can see like the vein in your forehead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had a big bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and so that sort of got me on a kick a little.
Just want to make sure you're okay.
I'm okay, but so these kids. What's the deal with these kids? Are they wanting to own? Sorry, they own the house, but are they owning the land? That they're on?
No. We were talking about, these kids are uprooting their lives. They don't want to buy the land. They don't want to be tied down.
Gotta be mobile.
They want to be mobile. They like their options.
They love
want to go to
skating around.
They want to go to the beach. They want to go to the mountains. These kids want it all, and we give them that option.
They got a Go-Gurt. They're always drinking that Go-Gurt, throwing...
That's actually...
that I can get into.
It's true. These kids are so used to that Go-Gurt lifestyle, so why don't we jam them in a tube and send them on their way?
So you have tiny houses. So you sell tiny houses. Can you tell me what the more popular tiny houses that you sell? What are the costs? What's the ROI? What's the REI? What's the WEI?
We try and meet their needs and their interests. So we design these to spec around your interests, right? So what are you guys interested in?
I'm really into like cleaning myself these days. So if I could just get a place that could really clean me off,
we actually worked with someone who was really into cleaning. 90% of their tiny home was a bathroom.
Interesting.
It is fantastic.
So most of the house was a toilet and shower.
That is what they requested. They were used to
living in a bathroom.
They love the spa life, so we went ahead and we built them a premium custom spa for about $450,000.
Wow, $450,000. That's quite a deal.
Inexpensive houses.
I mean, think about...
I thought you're trying to make money, Landon.
Well, think about how much money kids are spending going to the spas, right? And how much money they're saving in this investment. And on top of it,
spending a lot.
They can take the spa anywhere, right? One day at the beach, one day on the mountains, hop on the spa right after, cool down after those rides down the hill. Whatever your favorite room is, we will make that a house.
I once went to what I think it was a spa. It was in South America. I took a trip down there, and I met this guy. His name was Bagram Shakti, and he pumped this black smoke into my face at night, and I saw some things. And he was real scary. He turned into a big snake man. He played all this music. Do you supply kids with that experience, or... I cried for a long time on that.
Are you asking the man that sells tiny homes if he'll provide a man who blows smoke in your face, Dustin? Is that the question?
It was a black powder that he had mixed for hours and hours, and he took some leaves and blew it in my face, and I wasn't myself for a really long time.
You're wondering if someone who sells houses is going to also sell a man who blows smoke in your face.
Yeah, is that a service that can be provided? It was a spa. I think it was a spa.
Was it inside of a hut?
There were huts and a lot of crying people. A lot of crying college kids. So I thought maybe there was that.
That I like.
Yeah.
I mean, was that? I don't know if that
was. We don't recommend smoking at our tiny homes, but we don't control that. You do what you want. You invite who you want in there. It is your home at the end of the day.
That's good. That's what I like. One of my favorite pastimes is getting into the bathroom and lighting a cigar and just really smoking that place up. In fact, I've been sort of smoking up my whole house lately. Been really into the cigs these days. Treat myself to a little bit of sugar, a little bit of water, a little bit of cigarettes in my house all day. And
rock star diet.
That rock star diet, sugar. I'm just full rock star diet, just sugar, water, and whole lot of cigarettes, just a touch of nicotine to wake you up in the morning.
Wow.
And I just want a house where I can just smoke that bad boy up. And I think a small house. It seems like the kids these days, they're more into vaping than cigs. But you would want to have maybe options for houses where you could just vape to your heart's delight.
Well, funny you ask. We have built tiny houses on wheels, essentially pop-up shops. So you just sit in a confined space, blowing some cigar smoke. It's fantastic.
So phenomenal. These are tiny houses, but they also serve as pop-up shops if you need them to be. Or you could live inside a cigar shop and just make that your home.
Imagine if your cigar shop could be anywhere.
multi-use.
Your cigar shop is typically in the city. What if it was on the beach?
I mean, there's nothing like waking up to the brisk sea air, just smoke in your lungs, just waking up to a good cough is Bridge, you're really trying to downsize with your licorice sandwiches and cigarettes.
Yeah, and I've really been trying to like see nature and stuff too. Really get outside and see the outdoors. And so like pulling up to Yosemite in like just a smoke plume tiny house sounds like a great idea. Just cigar smoke just flying out the windows as I roll by a couple bears, a
couple tourists, some hikers.
Yeah, that
just going out hiking in a national forest, and you just plop your tiny home right in the middle of a national forest. That sounds like a great way to meet new people, too, outdoors people.
Well, can you take these tiny houses off-road? Because I wouldn't mind taking my house on some trails through Yosemite.
You know, we've had tiny houses built for monster truck athletes. So we've actually had monster truck wheels put on these bad boys. And let me tell you, there's nothing cooler than rolling up to Yosemite in your monster truck tiny house.
Blasting music
with your cigar
Trap
smoke
music,
billowing out in an infinity pool at the top of your tiny house. Okay, let's talk about that.
Just blasting water down. People going up a mountain trail, like enjoying the 2 weeks that they have off of work for the year. And then there's Bridge in his cigar shop on monster truck wheels, just blasting trap music and water just splashing all over the place.
It's a lot of sloshing.
And then just smoke. Billowing.
Just cigarette smoke, Marlboro red smoke just pouring everywhere, and rolling coal because I like doing that.
And no better way to stretch those 2 weeks that you get off. You can make them feel like 2 months inside of one of these tiny homes.
Yeah.
Take your time. That's what we say.
And you provide the homeowners with permits so they can go to these national parks.
It's one of the packages we sell. We build a tiny home. It comes with a membership to the park services. It comes with a whole slew of things. We give you a handicap pass. I mean, we're selling these bad boys like hotcakes.
This is nice. I like this handicap thing that you're allowing. So so I could just park my home on a handicap spot. And that would be fine, is what you're saying.
This is where I live now.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, your home is so big, you can only fit it so many places. Handicap spots are ample. They're spacious, right?
Right.
So we get that deal. We work with a group of doctors to make sure every home comes with a handicap pass.
Just Bridge with crutches, walking outside of his house, just yelling at hikers, saying, "Shut up, get off my lawn!"
Well, and the great thing is, I think that state is technically like castle law. So, like, if they try and, like, knock on the door and say, like, hey, you shouldn't be parked in a handicap spot, I can legally shoot them. The great thing about tiny houses is that you can, like, sort of transport your castle law wherever you go. So it just, like, even if you really disliked somebody, I mean, I'm not saying I would do this, but you could drive your tiny home into their house and then shoot them.
That is 100% correct. A lot of our buyers are supporters of the Second Amendment. They're going off the grid. They want to protect themselves. Buy a tiny house.
And then you could take the tiny house that you just smashed into. Now that's your home. Now you have a slightly larger tiny house.
Oh, yeah. We do additions all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I heard this actually became a problem in some of the tiny house communities. They kept ramming their tiny houses into each other and then shooting each other and then claiming the other house. And that kind of became a problem because it sort of had a cascade effect where it just like it started to become these just sort of like stitched together like shanty mansions. Because I guess there was one sort of top dog who really claimed like a lot of them. He was really good at ramming his house into other ones and shooting people. And so he sort of created this mansion stitched together out of all these other tiny homes.
A tiny house train. Is what we call it in the business.
Or a tiny house sort of destruction derby. I mean, that's something that would be quite a sight. Bridges, grave digger, smoking tiny house. And then I could get a tiny house too. And I could call it like Blue Thunder. And then we could smash into each other. And whoever wins gets the other house.
think this is a fantastic idea. In fact, we're actually considering making this a sport of some sort. So you guys want to offline about this, by all means.
So one question that I think a lot of people have is these tiny houses, there's, technically on a business standpoint, they're a depreciating asset, right? I mean, like, the house starts falling apart. Like, it's made of wood, and wood, like, eventually falls apart. It doesn't last forever.
It molds.
So it's not like it gains in value, correct? Or am I wrong?
No, you're totally wrong. The value it's in the memories you make. Again, you uproot that life, you go where you want. Imagine how many more memories you're going to make pulling up your tiny house to Yosemite, like you said, to the beach, to the mountains, to the desert. Right? How many days in your home do you even remember what you did?
I don't know. The days are sort of blending together these days.
Exactly. You only really remember vacations, and with a tiny house, you're always on vacation.
So if you wanted to resell one of your tiny houses and they're like, this is falling apart, it's been smashed to bits, you could say, well, I had a good time with it. And then that automatically makes the tiny house worth more. I ate real well. I smoked a lot of cigarettes in here.
I killed a couple people.
So up the price.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you pay more for those kind of memories if someone sold them to you?
Yeah, if somebody, just had a broken down shack, and I was like, man, might give you $5 for this thing, and they were like, yeah, but I have so many memories in this shack. Of course I would pay more.
And hey, you guys are forgetting. You do get a handicap parking pass. And those are harder to come by, my friends. Those are always going
Those
up.
were worth their weight in gold.
I would say so.
In wheelchairs. Worth their weight in wheelchairs.
So you were talking about infinity pools. Now, you could have additions to the house. And infinity pools are amazing. How does an infinity pool fit inside a tiny house? Or is it just kind of flowing down on the road when you're trying to drive it from place to place?
Typically, we recommend putting them at the very top.
Oh, yeah.
So the entire roof of your tiny home.
It just floods from the top. So the bottom is completely filled with water.
Yes, absolutely. But that's the sacrifice you make to live.
I mean, well, it kind of like doubles, right? So it's like you've got an infinity pool above and sort of a shower below. As the water sort of trickles down, you clean yourself with the infinity pool.
Absolutely.
Live inside your shipwreck. Just a handicapped man.
Smoking cigarettes.
Just an old...
in your infinity pool.
An old sea dog. Just living inside an old shipwreck, and that's what you sell.
In the middle of the desert sometimes.
These go anywhere, man, especially with those off-roading wheels, let me tell you.
Now, how much would it cost to live in a shipwreck?
With the pools, the prices tend to go up. You know, water is expensive.
Sure.
Here in California, where we manufacture these things, there is a drought. You got to keep that in mind.
It's worth more than gold.
Yeah, you're looking at about anywhere from $800 to about $1 million for one of these.
For one of these tiny houses that you sell to Gen Z.
Yes.
I mean, that makes sense.
It's a great investment.
Yeah.
You know, they got to invest in their future, and what kind of future is it if you don't have
wet wood?
Yeah, and these kids, I mean, they gotta do something. They gotta pull their pants up and say, look, it's time to buy a house. Like the generations before me, it's time to finally take a little bit of responsibility in my life, and actually purchase a home. And this seems like a great way to do that. It seems like you're providing a service to this generation.
We're helping these kids grow up.
Thank God.
You know, and we're giving them a roof over their heads, whether that roof is made of wood or a pool is up to them. We take their dreams and we make them a reality.
And you're a full service too, so you supply gas and electric?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We do them all. We know a guy, you know, we've been in this business forever.
Who's the guy?
You know, it just depends on the guy and what the service is.
Well, your website says it's just one guy doing all this, so how does that work?
It says his name is Ted.
He's a workhorse. Fantastic man.
Yeah.
Ted knows a guy. You know, he's the face of the guys, I guess.
Oh, it's just an amalgam of guys just show up.
Just showing up with gas. They've got fuel.
We got a fuel guy. We got a pool guy. I actually have a few pool boys.
So Ted's a guy who's in charge of all the other guys. And those guys are in charge of boys.
To whom we sell, yes, that's
right.
We have our own employees selling tiny houses to their own employees.
So the contractors are also the salesmen as well.
We like to maximize profits, to trim it out. We don't need a sales guy. Every guy's a sales guy. You know what I mean? One of those tiny houses pull up, boom, you're a sales guy.
And then there's just a guy like hauling water to the infinity pool, and a person walks up and is like, "Hey, can I buy this?" And the guy just hauling the water is like, "Sure, I guess I'm a sales guy too," and starts selling these shanties for about $1 million. That sounds fair.
Booming business right now. These kids, they love it.
I think you're kind of doing a service. It's almost like you're the Mother Teresa of Gen Z.
Thank you.
In some ways, because I mean, these kids, I'll be honest, I thought they were gonna careen off the cliff in a lot of ways. I thought we were sort of facing the end times, because I mean, imagining passing the world on to that generation, Jesus, that would be a disaster.
If I can do anything to make sure these kids are not careening, then I'm not doing my job.
They're not encased in a monster truck house.
You were talking about bridges before we started recording. So there are tiny houses, and you could live under a bridge. Is that correct?
Well, there are rigorous standards for building these bad boys, and we're a little limited, but we try to maximize. So we made sure all of our tiny houses are exactly 1 inch shorter than the standard U.S. bridge, which means, yes, you can, in fact, park it under there.
And you're just this handicapped old gremlin just living under a bridge. And if people want to get over that bridge, you could always make some supplemental income. These kids, they always talk about the gig economy. These kids can charge for people to cross over that bridge like a toll.
Yeah. The gig economy, they're always talking about grinding and trying to get them bags, is what they keep saying.
Get them bags?
Yeah. They're just always talking about getting them bags, like bags of cash. Like, they're just like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to get another bag.
Get those bags.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about these kids I can't stand.
And neither can they.
So, with tiny homes, I mean, do you live in a tiny home?
Oh, well, I live in a tiny home mansion.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, I'm a grown man. I like my space. And while I am a big proponent of tiny home living, I like to maximize the space and really, double down.
I get that.
Oh, okay. I thought, you were going to live inside of your product.
Well, not unless I'm going to the store. Then I do drive it for the parking pass. But otherwise, I would never actually live in one, though. No, not full time.
So you just sort of use it to park at places, is what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Park, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't leave home without it. But when I'm home, I'm not inside of one. Absolutely.
You don't leave home without your home, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
How big is your personal tiny house then?
Oh, yeah. My personal tiny house is actually about 1,310 square feet.
Oh.
About 10 to 15 acres, depending on the day.
Oh, that's right. You're mobile.
I get that.
It's on wheels, too.
Yeah, I've got the monster truck wheels outfitted. It makes parking a lot easier. I could just kind of run over all the other cars.
Yeah, and if somebody challenges you on that, boom, castle law.
Got him.
And that's what you say. That's what you say after you shoot them. Got him. And then you step out of your parking space, your handicapped parking space, and walk into Disneyland.
The best kind of living, because remember, we're making memories here.
I honestly wouldn't mind buying a couple of these bad boys. I mean, sort of, I like to hit the town, hit the clubs, if you will, on Friday night. And oh my God, the parking is so bad. And so, like, if me and the boys, if we could just have all these tiny homes and maybe sort of, take advantage of these handicap spots, roll up to the clubs, if you will, in a bunch of houses, I would love that.
One of my relatives does run a party bus business, and we have been building tiny clubs for them. So now you're not even going to the club in style. You're going to the club in a club.
And like people trying to get into the club, but there's like bouncers. So it's like one house is like ramming into another house on the freeway. And it's like, no, you can't come in.
The business is going so well, we actually had to build a tiny line, an additional house that is, again, connected to the back of the club, which is just for waiting in line.
So that's the future of the U.S. highways. It's just clubs being mobile, people living. and attaching their homes, smashing into each other. It's like a sort of dystopian, wonderful dystopian.
It's like a beautiful dystopian nightmare.
That's the future we're building.
For Gen Z.
They can stand in line on the highway.
As the weather keeps getting hotter and hotter as global temperatures rise. Them hitting the club. They get what they deserve.
The oil wars just started.
Beautiful.
The water rising.
It's got an infinity pool.
Everything's underwater.
The infinity pool rising.
We're not that far out.
You had briefly talked about your family. I know your family likes to stay a little bit clandestine. They don't want to talk about the owners.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about the owners and the owner lifestyle?
Yeah, my family came to America in the 1600s and just kind of got into that business. I can't go too deep into it, but they've been buying and owning land for quite some time.
Big land taker is what you're saying.
They call them freeholders, I think.
We freely held a lot of land in the family, and it's been passed down for generations, and that business just never dies. We just buy up more land.
Now, what happens to a tiny house when it's completely lost its depreciation and the memories have all faded?
We call them fixer-uppers. We put in a little bit of work, and we resell those on the second-hand market.
And what happens if you forget all about all the memories?
Well,
all the memories.
Yeah. No, we don't forget those memories because they live forever on Instagram, right? So we encourage all of our buyers to really photograph and capture those memories, put them in a time capsule, which comes in a little photo book with every purchase.
Wow, that's really nice. Now, Dustin, you looked pretty distraught when you said, what if the memories go away? I'm sort of curious, what sort of inspired that question for you?
I have a lot of, not baggage. That's not the word. It's just old memories that need to be wiped away. And I thought maybe if I bought a tiny home, I could throw those memories in the tiny home and then sell them, so I don't have to remember those memories anymore. Is that? I mean, that seems to be an option. When you sell, when you sell your tiny home, the memories of the previous owner go away, right? They go away.
That seems like quite a hefty order, Dustin. That seems like maybe more than a tiny home can provide. I mean, I don't know. Is this something that you offer as a selling point?
No.
Well, Landon, if there's anything else you wanted to say about your family, we'd love to hear it. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about my family.
Okay.
Well, this has been Business Money Hacks. I'm Bridge Stewart.
I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn. Be on the lookout for the waters rising and
tiny homes crashing into your house and shooting you.
Thanks for having me.